What's up, guys? In this video, I'm going to be teaching you how to build really fast landing pages using Gutenberg and the Kadence Blocks plugin, which is my favorite Gutenberg extension plugin that I use on all of my websites. I'm also going to be teaching you all of the best design concepts to use so that your pages look amazing on desktop, tablet, and mobile for all screen sizes. And when you use Gutenberg to build your pages are going to be so much faster than using a third-party page builder such as Elementor, which makes it a lot easier to pass Google's Core Web Vitals. And if you pass Google's Core Web Vitals, you'll get a crucial ranking boost from Google. And so depending on the keywords that your landing page is ranking for, you could be bringing in hundreds, if not thousands, of extra viewers per month on your website. And so this is going to be amazing, and I'm going to teach you all of the tips and tricks that I use to build landing pages of my own. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Jake from StartBlogging101.com. Let's get right into it. And really quick, before I begin, I would suggest watching this video on YouTube. It's called Building Pages with Gutenberg, and it's directly on the Kadence WP YouTube channel. And it was made by Adam Preiser from WP Crafter. And in it, he gives a number of fantastic settings and different concepts for designing pages in Gutenberg. And these are a lot of the same concepts and settings that I use to build my own pages as well. So I definitely want to give them a shout out for this video because it's also fantastic. So here I am on a brand new website. It's a new local website that I just spun up. And the very first thing I'm going to do is put the Kadence theme on the website because it integrates perfectly with Kadence Blocks. And so I'm going to go to Appearance, Themes. I'm going to click Add New here, and up here I'm going to search Kadence. And here Kadence is right here. You can just hit the Install button. And once it's installed, you can just hit the Activate button to get it activated. And now we have the Kadence theme up on the website. And you can also install the Kadence Starter Templates plugin here, which I like doing this especially on a brand new website because then you'll be able to see a number of all the Gutenberg and Elementor starter templates that the Kadence team has, and you can scroll through here and see all of them, and they all have a number of pages that you can put on your website as well. And I will actually get into this a little later, but I just want to show you that I'm installing the Kadence starter templates plugin because I will be using it to show some sample things a little later. So now that I have the Kadence theme and the Kadence starter templates plugin on my website, the next thing I'm going to do is install the free Kadence Blocks plugin. So I'm going to go to Plugins here, click Add New, and I'm going to search for Kadence Blocks. And once it comes up here, you can see there's a plugin called Gutenberg Blocks by Kadence Blocks that gives you page builder features. So I'm going to install this. Like I said, this is the free version, and almost everything that I'm going to be showing you is going to be available in the free version. But I'm going to go ahead and actually activate the pro version of both the Kadence theme, so Kadence Theme Pro, and I'm also going to activate Kadence Blocks Pro, just so that I'm not restricted when I go to show different wireframing pieces and different blocks and all of the possibilities that you can do with Kadence Blocks and the Kadence theme. So now that Kadence Blocks is installed on my website, I'm just going to activate the plugin here. So here's a page showing all of the blocks that you get for free, and I'll go into showing you more of these a little later, but let's jump right into a home page here and start building out a landing page and show you how you can build really fast pages using Gutenberg and Kadence Blocks. So I just created this blank brand new home page, which is my front page for my website, and I'm going to open this up here. And once you're in here, this is the Gutenberg editor. And I know a lot of people, when they hear Gutenberg, there is a plugin out there called Gutenberg, but you don't actually want that on your production website. And all the Gutenberg plugin is it's just all of the cutting edge features that they're working on with Gutenberg. It usually has a ton of bugs, and that's why it's rated poorly in the WordPress repo for all of the plugins. But once you're in here, this is just using the Gutenberg editor, and I just wanted to clarify that because that does confuse some people sometimes. The very first thing that I want to show you, if you're used to other page builders, third-party page builders such as Elementor or Beaver Builder or whatever it might be, is Kadence allows you to go into these page settings here. And these page settings can be set for every single page. And I'm actually going to tweak some of these to get more of a consistent layout on our page to start with that would be very reminiscent of Elementor. And so you can see here that you have the transparent header, you have a page title. I'm actually going to disable the page title. Here's your page layout. So if you want sidebars or full width or whatever it might be, I'm going to choose full width here. And you can already see that the text and everything jumped to the edge of the screen here. And then the content style, I'm going to do unboxed. The content vertical padding, I'm going to disable that. And for show featured image, I'm also going to disable that. And so now that I've showed you guys those page settings, I just want to compare this really quick to an Elementor page. So if I come here, here is a page with Kadence and Elementor added. And if you just come down here to the lower left, there's a settings cogwheel. And if you open that, these are your page settings for this page. And so a lot of that stuff is very much the same. You know, you have your title here, you have the status, you have a featured image that you can show, you can hide the title, and you have your page layout. So if you were using something like Elementor full width for your page layout, this would be very similar to what we have set in Kadence Blocks. And so coming back here, the very next thing I want to focus on is these Kadence Blocks controls, which shows up after you install Kadence Blocks. And within here, this is your global color palette. And I'm not going to get into the global color palette for this video, but these are the 9 colors that you can set as your global color palette in Kadence within the customizer. And it's really, really nice because now this integrates perfectly with Kadence Blocks and you can choose all of your global colors directly when you're editing your blocks. And if you ever go to change colors on your website, you can simply change your global color palette and it'll change all of the linked areas throughout your entire site so that you have updates within seconds rather than going through and manually choosing colors for every single spot. So that's super nice. But I want to focus on the block default section here. And these block defaults give you all of the default settings for many of the Kadence blocks that you have available to you. And the main one I want to focus on here is the row layout. And the row layout is the absolute core and foundation of building pages in Gutenberg with Kadence Blocks. It is your container block that ends up being a section and then you later drill down, which I'll go into shortly here. But if we open this up, here are different row layout controls that you can tweak and change the defaults if you want. But if I come down here to structure settings, there's one setting and it's this content max width inherit from theme that I would suggest you turn that on. And what that will do is it will take your max width that you have set in your Kadence customizer. I believe the default is around 1290 pixels, and it will make sure that your content doesn't get wider than 1290 pixels. And what that will do is you'll have a nice uniform line all the way down as you're building your page out. And so I would definitely suggest turning that on, and then you can just save this here. And that will make sure that every row layout that we add from here on out will have that setting toggled. Now I'm going to show you how to create a hero section within the Gutenberg editor here with Kadence Blocks. So the very first thing you can do is you can either add a block by clicking this plus here. Otherwise, I like to do a / and type the block that I want. So I'm going to type row. And that row layout, once again, this is going to be the foundation for building every single section on your page. And so if I choose row layout here, that is the top level container that holds all of your columns and content. And so the very next thing that you have to choose then is how many columns do you want? And for a hero section, I'm just going to mimic something that I have similar to on my homepage for Start Blogging 101. And I'm just going to do a simple 2-column layout here. And once that's added, the nice thing is you can sit here and take this and tweak the percentages to be whatever you'd like. Or you can click this and have these be fluid if you want even more granular control. But I'm just going to set this to 50-50 to start. So I'm going to add a paragraph that says column 1 here. And then I'm going to add a paragraph that says column 2 here. All right, now that we have 2 columns added and we have content in each of those columns, I'm going to come here and I'm going to choose this settings wheel. And what this settings wheel does is it shows you all of the block settings that you have for the chosen block. So you can see that I have options for the paragraph right now. But you might be wondering, hey, how do I get back to my column settings to tweak the spacing or the padding or whatever, or even the colors, or how do I get back to my row layout for the actual top level container? And there's 2 ways to do that here. And so the very first way that I use pretty often is to look down here in the lower left. you can see that I'm currently on the paragraph, but you can see that before that is a section, which is my column, and before that is the row layout, which is the top level container. So if I just click on row layout here, you can see that the whole container is now highlighted, and you can see that my block settings changed to be the row layout block settings. And so now I have all of these settings available to tweak the row layout. And if I open the structure settings here, you can see that this content max width inherit from theme option is already toggled because we set that as a default before. So that's really, really nice. And the first thing I'm going to do is then just change the background color of this to be a dark background, and then we'll give it some light text. So I'm just going to open up the background settings. You can set a simple background color. You can add a slider image for different images that will slide through the section, or you can even add an entire video for a background for your section if you want. But I'm just going to choose a background color here. I'm going to open this up, and I'm going to choose this dark color from my global color palette that I got from Kadence. And I'm going to choose this. And then you can also see that the text needs to be lighter now. So I'm going to scroll down and open the text color settings, and I'm going to set the text color to be white. And so just like that, I have a dark background with white text. And so say you're in here and you're adding more content, right? And you notice, hey, I'm back at the paragraph again, but I want to go back and I want to tweak the column or the row layout. And as I showed you, you can do that with the lower left breadcrumb here. But even better, I like using this even more now with WordPress 5.8. The list view got a massive upgrade, and it's super nice to show you how your page is laid out. And that's this button right here, which is list view. And if you open this, you'll get a nice left sidebar, and it'll show you all of the blocks that make up your page. And you can hover over each of these, and you can see I'm hovered over the second section here, which is the second column, or even the row layout, and it'll have all of that highlighted. So then I can just easily come in here and I can choose whichever one of these that I want, and all of the appropriate settings are then gonna show in the right-hand side for the block settings. Now this is extremely similar to Elementor. If I come back here, and I'm just gonna come down in the lower left here and open up the navigator. And with this navigator, this shows you the same exact thing that the Gutenberg list view is now showing you. So if I just want to look at this section here and I click here, you can see that the section's highlighted. And if I expand this, you can see there's a column. And if I click on that, that's now outlined here. And then within that column, if you open this, there's intersections. And if I click on that, all that is just another row layout in Kadence Blocks. And here is an intersection down here, and that's another row layout. And if I open this, there's two more columns. So here's column 1, here's column 2, and within this intersection, here's column 1, here's column 2. So it's the exact same thing. It's very, very easy to understand once you can just see the differences side by side between a third-party page builder like Elementor and Gutenberg. So I'm just gonna head back to the Gutenberg editor now. And let's start making this section look a lot more like my hero section for my website to just show you a few more of the settings and the options available to you. So I'm gonna take this and I'm actually gonna turn it into an advanced heading, and I'm going to make this say what it says on my website. And then on the right-hand side, I'm just gonna take this and I'm just gonna delete this and add an image instead. So I'll do a /image, and we're gonna add an image here. And I already added this image to the website and I resized it to the dimensions that it needs to be already, but I'm just gonna add the image of myself here. And so that's there, and I'm gonna come up here and I'm gonna align this center. And so now let's make this headline a little more prominent. So I'm gonna take this and I'm going to come into the typography settings, and I'm gonna take the weight and push it up to extra bold here. I'm going to take the size and choose EMs, and let's do 2.8 here. That's looking good. And I'm also going to take the row layout. So I want to get back to the row layout and make my left column a little bit wider than the right column. So I'm going to choose the row layout here. I'm going to grab this and make it 55-45. That looks great. It's on 3 nice lines. And at this point, I want to stress a really important point. When you are building in the Gutenberg editor and using Kadence Blocks, you should always get in the habit of previewing your page to see what the live page looks like on the front end. And the reason for that is because the Gutenberg editor likes to add extra spacing in things. So it adds extra spacing because it's expecting a new block. And a lot of times, even though that spacing is shown in the editor, it's not actually going to show on the live page. So I'm going to go to preview here and preview this in a new tab. And here we have it so far. It's looking good. We have the headline up here. We will have to make sure that that's vertically aligned. And then you have my image here, and we'll take care of this extra spacing here shortly. But I'm gonna come back and we're just going to vertically align this headline. So back here in the editor, I'm gonna choose the headline, and I'm wondering, how can I vertically align this headline? Well, I need to go back up to the section. And so I can just hover over the section here. You can see the section highlighted on the left-hand side there. I'm gonna choose that. And then there's an option here to vertically align, and I'm just going to choose align middle, and that will put that perfectly in the middle. That's looking awesome. And then the other thing is we did have some extra space below my image, and I want my image to be right up against the bottom of the section. And the reason for that is because the row layout, the container itself, contains 25 pixels of padding on the top and bottom as a default. And that's actually usually a very good thing because you do want some space in between the content and the next section. But for this very first hero section, I don't want space on the bottom of my image so that it looks snug against the bottom. So I'm going to go to the row layout here. I'm going to open up the padding and margin, and you can see that there's 25 pixels on the top and bottom. I'm just gonna come in here and simply input 0, and that will take away that extra space. Even though there's extra space shown in the editor, keep in mind that that isn't always going to show in the actual live page. So let's just go back and preview this now. And there you have it. My image is right against the bottom of the section, and the headline here is perfectly aligned in the middle. And so that is looking awesome. And this is a fantastic beginning hero section for any website out there. And so building landing pages is as simple as just creating section after section after section within your landing page. And every single section within Gutenberg and Kadence Blocks, all it is a top level row layout, and that's your overall container that's going to contain everything. And then it's a section in there, and the section will automatically get added as you add a column. So if you add a single column or 2 columns or 3 columns, the appropriate amount of sections are going to be added. And then you just have to add all your items in there. You just have to add your headlines or your text or a form or a slider or an image, whatever it might be. And so let's quickly build out a second section here with a lighter background to give a little bit of contrast and transition into our next section. So let's click down here. I'm gonna do a slash and type row again. I'm gonna add a row layout. For this one, I'll do another 2 column section. And I'm going to then take the row layout and just add a really light blue background to give it just a little bit of color. So I'm gonna come into the background settings and choose background color, and I'm gonna choose this option right here. So as you can see, that adds just a really faint blue there. And I'm just gonna take the text and add it from my home page here to speed things up a little bit. And then I'm also gonna take my form from my main page and add it here as well. I'm not gonna show creating that just for time's sake, but I just wanna show you what it will look like with text on the left and a form on the right. And so now I've added text on the left column and I've added a form in the right column, and I'm just gonna preview this quick. And here we have the hero section up here, and you could even add buttons if you want. That's very simple using the advanced button from Kadence. And then coming down here, I like how this looks so far. I think there could be a little more space in between the 2 columns here and a little more space up here. So let's fix that super quick. So the very first thing I'm gonna do is go to the row layout, the overall container again. So that's this whole section that I'm building. I'm gonna choose that. And for the column gutter, that's the amount of padding in between the 2 columns here. I'm gonna up that a little bit. Let's go to wider 60 pixels. And that gave a little more space there, so that's looking good. And then for the padding and margin, I'm actually going to up this. I'm gonna double this for the row layout here to 50. So let's go 50 on the top and 50 on the bottom. And let's preview this quick. And there we go. We have more space separating the first section from the second section. And then we also have more space in between the words and the form here. So that's looking awesome. And I already have the second section built within a matter of a few minutes. For the third section, let's really quick make a nice gradient like this using our global color palette to just add a little more contrast to the page and draw the visitor's eyes to this piece here. So we'll come back to the editor here. I'm going to click here again, and this time I'll just click the plus button and we'll choose a row layout here. This is just going to be a single column now. And if I open up the list view again, you can see that since I chose a single column, there is only a single section here. And so I have the option for the row layout or the section itself. And I'm gonna stay at the row layout level, and I'm gonna go to the background overlay settings this time and choose a gradient. And for the first color, I'm gonna choose my very first accent color through my global color palette. And the second color, I'm going to choose my second accent color, which is my hover color for the second accent here. And I'm going to take the gradient angle and do 135. And then I'm also going to take the overlay opacity and bump it all the way up to 100. So it's fully solid here. And then I'm just going to add a quick headline and the text here that I'll just copy over. So now that I have the text copied over, I have an advanced heading here and then just a simple paragraph. There are a couple tweaks I want to make. So I want to make the text white so that you can see it. And then I want to make the max width of this paragraph and the whole row layout smaller so that it looks more compact and centered within the page. So I'm going to come back up to the row layout here and change the text color and change the max width here as well. So let's choose that. We'll go to text color settings. We'll make the text color white, and that's going to turn the headline and the text white. And then we also want to take this and go to the structure settings. And even though we have this content max width inherit from theme chosen, I actually want to override this and make it even smaller than the 1290 pixels because it's just way too wide for just a simple couple sentences. So I'm going to actually turn that off, and then we can type in our custom content max width. So let's just do around 600 pixels. And you can see that that condenses that really nicely. And if I preview this here, and scroll down, you can see that it's nice and condensed here, and we can even add a button here real quick to just have a nice call to action. So let's do that fast. So I'll come in here, I'll enter down, I'll do a slash, and I'll type advanced because I want an advanced button, which is the Kadence button, and gives you a lot more options than just the regular Gutenberg button. So I'm gonna choose that, and then I'm gonna go through and just choose some settings here quick. So I've started to set some settings here. I'm gonna come in here and write subscribe. And I'm going to change the hover settings here. Okay, so I've set some hover settings. I'm going to come back to normal and scroll down, and the border radius I'm going to change to 30, so that makes it nice and rounded. And then I also want an icon. Let's look up YouTube here, and we'll choose this button here, and we can make the icon size whatever we want. So I'm going to go into EMs here, and let's make this 1.2 to bump it up a little. And then I can also do the icon location of left. And so that'll bump it there. And I also want to come in and let's make that bold like that. All right, and let's preview this and see how it looks. All right, so the section's completed. It says, are you a visual learner? It has a nice little description. And then you have a call to action button. And you can obviously go into the button settings and change the URL for the button to go wherever you want it to go. So there we have it. We have 3 sections that we built in a very short amount of time. We have a hero section with a headline and an image. We have some copy here that gets people to sign up for a free email course. And there's a nice section here with a gradient, and it gets people to go to your YouTube channel and subscribe or whatever you want it to do. So now that I've showed you how to build those 3 sections from scratch, the next thing I'm going to talk about is mobile responsiveness, because you're probably wondering, how do I make these sections look good on different screen sizes, such as tablet and mobile? And the nice thing is that Kadence Blocks gives you a ton of customization options to be able to tweak these settings for different screen sizes. So when you go in to make your landing pages mobile friendly, just know that Kadence Blocks has you covered by using all of these design concepts that we've been using throughout the video. And so you're going to be making most of your tweaks at the top level row layout. And so if I want to tweak how this section looks here for mobile, I'm gonna go up to the top level row layout, and I'll click on this here. And then over in the block settings, you can see that I'm currently on desktop right now, which is the default. But then there's an option for tablet size. And if I click on that, the editor resizes to a tablet screen. And then there's also options for mobile. So if I click the mobile icon, that will then shrink down to be a mobile phone. And I can already tell that this headline here is going to be way too big for a mobile phone. And so the nice thing is that I can come in here and I can tweak the size of this headline only for mobile or for tablet or for desktop. So I'm just gonna click on this headline here, and then over in the block settings, you can see there's a font size section, and it's very small, but you can see that there is a desktop icon, there's a tablet icon, and there's a mobile icon. And the mobile icon is already chosen because I'm previewing mobile right now. And you can also do some of these in the toolbar up here if you prefer that. It's maybe a little quicker, but I like using the block settings over here. And so for this, I'm only gonna specify a different size for mobile. And so I had a 2.8 Ms for desktop. I'm gonna bump that down to 1.5 here. And you can see that's smaller, and that's looking a lot better on mobile. And I also want this text to be centered here only on mobile. And you can see up here for text alignment, I'm still on the mobile icon because I'm viewing mobile, and I can just click the align text center here. And what that's going to do is it's going to align the text center for mobile here. But then if I come back to desktop by just clicking one of these buttons, you can see it is still left aligned as I want on desktop. And then if I come back to mobile, it's centered here. And so that's looking awesome. And so the next thing we're going to do is preview this to see how this is going to look on an actual device. And I'm going to teach you guys a little trick of mine that I've been using with the Gutenberg editor for a while now. Admittedly, the Gutenberg editor has not been the best at showing what these pages are going to look like on various screen sizes. And it's actually getting better with each release, and Kadence Blocks has done some things to make the mobile editing experience a lot better. But what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go up to preview here, and you can see that mobile is chosen because we are currently viewing mobile. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch this back to desktop, and I'll show you guys why in a second here. And then I'm just going to preview this in a new tab, just like we've been doing throughout the entire video. And so now that this is loaded up and I'm on desktop, one thing you could do is you could actually resize your screen. And so you could resize this to be more of a tablet size, or you could resize it to be smaller to be a mobile size. But what I find even easier is, especially if you're using the Chrome browser, if you just press F12 on either Windows or a Mac, it's going to open up your Chrome developer tools here. And I'm going to hide myself for a second here. And if you go to the bottom left here, you can see that there's this icon that says Toggle Device Toolbar. And I'm going to click this here. And what this does is it shows you what your page is going to look like on various devices. And if you use this drop down here, you can see I'm currently on the Moto G4, but you can come in here and you can see what this looks like on an iPad Pro. So this is an iPad Pro in portrait mode. You could come in here and you could see what this looks like on an iPhone X and all sorts of different devices here. And so I'm actually just gonna go back to the Moto G4. And this is really nice now because you can actually view all different types of dimensions for different screen sizes, and it's going to show you a very accurate representation of what it's going to look like. Whereas using some other methods before with the Gutenberg editor was not always accurate. And then when you'd go to publish your page and look at it on an actual device, it would not look the way that you thought it would. And so using this method is my preferred method and what I would recommend you to use if you want to see what your landing pages are going to look like on a bunch of device resolutions. So now that I've showed you all of the settings that Kadence Blocks gives you to make your landing pages mobile friendly, the next piece I want to show you are pre-designed sections from the Kadence team that allow you to build landing pages so much faster. And that is this design library button right here. And so if I open this up, the very first tab here is sections, and these are all pre-designed sections from the Kadence team that are fully featured with images and everything. And you can scroll through all of these here, and you can add any of these sections to your page by simply clicking it, and it will instantly be imported into your page. And you can see that some of these sections have the Pro tag on them. And that's why I installed Kadence Blocks Pro from before, because that gives me access to all of these Pro sections as well. And so just as an example, say I want to add this pricing table here, I'm going to click this, and you can see that the pricing table gets added to the page instantly. And so that's super nice. And then that's just right after my third section here, but you could just build an entire page from scratch with these. And then if I go back into the design library here, the second tab here is called Starter Packs. And these are going to be the same thing you saw by installing the Kadence Starter Templates plugin. So these are their starter templates here. And what's really nice is you can go into any of these and you can import in a specific page from one of these starter templates. So say you want a home page that is similar to this, or you want a menu page or an about us or an FAQ page. You can go to any of these starter packs here and you're able to just import in any of these specific pages. So if you like one of these and it's similar to what you're looking at, you could import in this page and then you could tweak it to be your branding and everything that you need to make it your own. And then the very last tab that I want to show you, which is new from the Kadence team and it's absolutely amazing, is this Wireframe tab. And in this Wireframe tab, each of these are very similar to the Sections tab, but they're different in the sense that the Sections tab are all pre-designed and they have actual images in there and things like that. But the wireframing are just placeholders. And so this is awesome if you need to just mock up a landing page for a client, or say you just need to mock up a page for yourself. You can come in here and each of these sections is just going to show you what it's going to look like. And so let's just choose this, for example. You can see this got added here, and it has 2 columns for each of these sections here. And what's really, really cool is that it inherits your global color palette from your website. And so you can see it's already using the colors that I have as I showed you here in the global color palette for the Kadence block controls. And so this is automatically going to match your branding right off the bat. And then you can just come in here and you could swap out the images and all of the content here to say whatever you want. And within no time at all, you're going to have a complete section for your landing page. And so this makes building landing pages so much faster, and they're just going to expand on this even more. So this is an awesome feature from Kadence Blocks, and that's the wireframing blocks. And so that's all there is to it to create fast landing pages in Gutenberg and Kadence Blocks. And when you create landing pages with Gutenberg and Kadence Blocks, your pages are going to be so much faster than using a third-party page builder. The HTML output that it outputs to build the page is so much cleaner. You have way less scripts and CSS running in the background, and you're almost certainly going to pass Google's Core Web Vitals. And what that will do is give your pages a ranking boost. And so if you can jump up on Google and have your landing pages ranking on Google within the first page or even in the first 3 positions, you're going to see a massive influx of traffic depending on the keywords that your page is ranking for. And so I absolutely love building pages with Gutenberg and Kadence Blocks. It is so easy once you understand all of the general concepts behind how page builders work in the first place. And once you get a grasp of it, it's really not that hard. I promise you, just give it a shot. And with full site editing maturing over time from WordPress, we're going to see this become easier and easier with each of the major updates. And so I'm super excited for the future of WordPress and full site editing, and I hope that you are too. Now go out there and build some fast landing pages. And if you are interested in learning more about WordPress site speed and how to pass Google's Core Web Vitals, then go to startblogging101.com, scroll down and fill out this form that says speed up my site. And what this is it's a completely free 7-day email course called the 7 Days to WordPress Site Speed Mastery. And in it, I go through all of my speed optimization tips that I use on all of my websites to pass Google's Core Web Vitals. And I'll go over my recommended hosting. I'll talk more about the Kadence theme and all of the features that it offers. I'll talk about how you can ditch your third-party page builder and start using Gutenberg to build fast landing pages and blog posts. I then go into how to configure the best caching plugins out there. And then as a cherry on top, I'll teach you how to speed up your fonts along with the images and videos on your website. So definitely go in and sign up. It's completely free, and I think your website is going to get a massive speed boost by going through it. And that's all I have. Thank you guys so much again for watching. I truly appreciate it. Go out there and build some fast landing pages. Stay safe and take care.